UK operator's perspective, the fundamental issue at the moment that we're facing is the Brexit, of course, and that's an unknown quantity. As an industry, both the UK and I think the other 27 members of the EU, we would like to see, in practical terms, a status quo. We understand that legally that won't happen, and technically it might not happen, but would love to see the same as we currently do in terms of how we physically operate. From a UK perspective, one of the key critical issues will be what's known as open skies, freedom of the rights for me to be able to fly from Germany to France, for instance, into EU once the UK has left. And that could be the one area of bone of contention. So far, the EBA has done one survey of members that are to obtain their views, and I think there's a split between actually what should happen and what shouldn't happen. Obviously, the UK represents quite a percentage for the EBAA and also contributes a lot to EASA going forward, and we would like to continue to do so. I mean, for operators generally, one of the issues really is the state of the economy. And I was at a seminar the other day by one of the leading banks, and it was giving its overview as to what will happen in the global economy. And they're looking at a sluggish upturn, but it is a sluggish upturn. Now, aviation, business aviation, always follows the upturn or the downturn. It always lags behind. So I think what it means for us as an industry is that there's going to be sluggish optimism, if there's such a phrase, or maybe that's a new phrase to use, sluggish optimism going forward, because the market is becoming extremely hard. OEMs are also faced with similar problems. They've got a large number of new aircraft that are on the market. They've got a second-hand market that's in free fall, or comparative free fall, and that means that nobody wants to buy the new aircraft. Not nobody. It means that there's less opportunity for them for selling because people can see bargains in the second-hand market. Against that, there's a lot of regulation coming in and changes for avionic upgrades, fans, ADS out, and that is going to have a material effect on the value of the aircraft again because of the cost of actually implementing and putting that into process. Again, as an operator within the industry, there's been a lot of consolidation over the last 2 or 3 years. Probably had 8 or 9 firms consolidating. In our own instance, we've merged now with about 6 companies, and we've taken us from individually large in each individual country to the second largest operator in the world. And there's also another competitor, Gamma, that is doing a similar process. So I think we'll continue to see consolidation and acquisitions at that level. But similarly, at the lower level, where there's somebody that's operating and looking after 3 aircraft, they're going to find that it's more beneficial to join up with another operator. So I think consolidation will be a bit of an issue for us as well as an industry. I think it's important that our viewpoint is made towards government. Now, for the Brexit, for example, we've talked with the EBAA to see what common areas that we can actually have. We then talked to the Department of Transport to express our view. And then within the aviation sector, we have to decide whether we want to have one voice along with the scheduled airlines or a separate voice to the scheduled airlines. And obviously, from the perspective of the UK government, the scheduled airline business is the material element of aviation, and we're a minor element of that. But we need to ensure that our views are heard and that we get what's best for our industry. Because at the end of the day, business aviation is an enabler into the global economy.
Looking forward, can you see any new opportunities?
For me as an operator,
yes,
there potentially are, because we're looking at now single-engined turboprops entering the market. They've been approved, and there'll be single crew, and that's obviously reduced cost base. Now, the real question is, commercially, will people want to fly on an aircraft with 1 engine as opposed to 2? Will they want to fly on an aircraft which has 1 pilot as opposed to 2? I think ultimately the answer will be yes, but it won't be a tomorrow morning story. I think over time, and over time for me is probably over the next 2 to 5 years, we will see an opportunity shift, which will open up the market for new entrants into people of using private aviation that currently don't exist. And we're going to be helped by the likes of Uber, Google, who are all looking at drones, which were going to be autonomous units flying people like a taxi service within the major cities. And once people start to accept that they can go on a drone without a pilot, let alone anything else, they're going to accept the single-engine aircraft. So that's a good opportunity for looking after the lower end of the market and having new entrants for a market sector that hasn't come into because of the cost base.
And would you consider entering the UAV market as well?
We have actually looked at that, but I think it's not really on our hit list. I mean, we have enough at the moment to do with what we're dealing with, but we're aware. And also, it's the likes of a Google or an Uber who's going to invest 500 million, a billion, or whatever the figure is, in the hope that actually for the long-term play. And that isn't our current plan.